Hi everybody, it's Sue from Blue Heron Hill. Welcome to my next video. This one I'm calling my Plant-a-thon Marathon because this is what I have going on today. It's tomato planting time. I put this off. It's about 2 weeks past my frost date. We did have a couple iffy days, so I held off. These tomato plants are getting way too tall and they need to get in the ground. We've had a stretch of warm weather with very bright sunshine, no clouds, no cloud cover. I don't like to plant my tomatoes out on a hot sunny day. I like to, give them a little bit of a break from the hot sun. And today is our first kind of overcast day, cloudy day. Expecting a possible shower today. Definitely some rain tomorrow. So it looks good for getting my tomatoes in. So here's my shirt. It's garden time, and it certainly is. So let's start digging in the dirt. Follow me. Here is my jungle of tomato plants. Now, a few of the things that I need for sure: a pair of gloves, and even brand new ones, breaking them in today. Cloth, you need a cloth. There's my water, a couple empty jugs, bone meal. Bone meal will promote good root growth, and we want that with our tomatoes. This is alfalfa pellets, and that's high in nitrogen, very good for that. And also a drill. What? We'll get to that. And lots of tomato plants, lots of long leggy tomato plants. They need to get into the ground. So let me take you inside the garden and show you where this is all going to happen. Here is, I've planted a few rows of edamame yesterday. Under the boards are carrots, and I think I've seen some germination. This row we have some radicchio. Here's my first tomato trellis. So the tomatoes will be going, some of them will be going on this trellis. Right to the right as we come in the door, here is another long cattle panel trellis, and I'm going to have more planted along that. They will be right behind my little celery starts. They've had a rough time of it because it has been so blessed hot, and they suffered a bit of transplant. But you can see there's lots of new growth starting to peep out. Okay, 2 empty beds here. We'll get to those later. Oh, I think I hear a rustling in the grass. And here is my third 15-foot cattle panel, right next to 4 rows of onions. This bed I have to amend a little bit before I dig, so that may not happen till later this afternoon. I've got to add some more compost to this. So let's get started. Okay. Now I've made up a little garden planning chart with my tomato types color-coded, so I know where they all are going to be placed. So I'm not sitting out here humming and hawing about what goes where. So let's see if I can follow this map. Here's my drill, and this is the reason for my drill. It's my planter, my hole digger. It's a giant auger, fits on this case, cordless drill, and helps me dig holes faster. So let me show you. When I plant my tomatoes, I plant them, since I stake them vertically, I plant them fairly densely together. About every a little bit more than 12 feet, or excuse me, I plant them a little bit more than 12 inches apart. An old piece of siding helps with non-compression of your soil if you have to reach over into a bed. Spreads out your weight a little bit more evenly. One here, and one down here. This is pretty compacted down at this end, so I'm hoping that the drill can handle this. So far, so good. Oh, lovely. Looks like I've got a tree root here from someplace. All right, that's 11 holes, and I dug those in quite short order with my handy dandy auger. So now let's get to planting the first tomatoes of 2021. All right, well, okay, after digging my holes, I've got my plants here. I'm not going to really go through all the different varieties I have. I'll do that after I plant. But you see how tall that they've gotten because I've had to delay the start. I am going to break off some of these lower leaves. They can actually just go right in the planting hole and decompose and add to the soil. I'm going to have to dig out a little bit of the fallback of the soil. But it's better than digging a 12-foot or 12-inch hole by hand. Okay, nice. So what I do to amend my soils, I use bone meal. Bone meal is a very good source of phosphorus, which helps in the roots. It also has a little bit of nitrogen, which is going to help for the foliage. But as a boost for nitrogen, I'm going to use alfalfa pellets. So in these holes, about a tablespoon or so of the bone meal. And I like to kind of sprinkle it on the sides because the roots are going to grow into that part of the soil also. A little bit, just a couple pellets down at the bottom of the hole. Now these pellets are not going to be a fast release. They will be a slow release of nitrogen for the plant. And so over time, I don't think my tomatoes are too pot bound. I think they look rather healthy in the root system. So that will get compressed down into the soil. And as I put in the soil around the tomato, I will sprinkle some more alfalfa pellets. These will break down over time. Okay, here's another one. Let's see what this one looks like. I mean, it's quite tall. It's over 2 feet tall. Root system looks awesome. Not pot bound at all. Okay. So, down into the ground, a few alfalfa pellets at a time. And the roots, new roots are going to grow all up the stem until it breaks the ground. So it will develop a nice, healthy root system to support all the foliage on top. Now, in this case, I'm having flowers already. I want more energy to go into the roots at this point in time. The roots and the foliage. So I'm going to just pop those off because I don't think the plant needs to stress itself trying to grow fruit at this point in time. I want it to grow roots and I want it to grow leaves. Okay, so let's see. One last one for the camera. This guy's another tall one, but his root system is awesome. Break off some of these lower leaves and we'll, oops, and a little fall down here. There we go. Press him down into the soil. You want to press that root system that that you have, you know, your soil there. You don't want any air pockets down there. Cover up and press it down. These guys will all get a great needed drink of water. We'll see. I don't think they're going to need any staking right now, but I may come and hold them on. I got to check the wind, see if we're going to have a very windy time today, and if that's the case, then I will just give them a little support so they have time to strengthen their stems. So I have a lot more tomatoes to get planted. So I will meet you at the end when I'm done. I had one injury to a tomato. That was the problem because these things were so long. It broke off right here, but at this axis, at this node, at this junction of the leaf and the stem, another, what is called a sucker, will come out, and I will use that as the main stem. There probably also a sucker will come out at this leaf here and this leaf here. And I will give this guy a shot and hope that it comes back just as strong as all its neighbors. Phew! 2/3 of the Plant-a-thon Marathon, or the Marathon Plant-a-thon, is finished. I have one more cattle panel of tomatoes yet to do, but I have to do some amending of the soil first, part that I had neglected. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about a couple things that I left out about the amendments. Tomatoes need calcium, very important. I used to put crushed eggshells down there. There's all sorts of those kind of natural things that you can use. They're good, but they aren't so good for the current year's crop. They take a while to break down into the soil, and then the bacteria in the soil break it down and then transform it so it can be taken up through the roots in the plant. The bone meal has calcium in it. So this is the added boost of calcium that I am going to use to give those tomato plants added calcium. It's a calcium deficiency when you have that blossom end rot on the bottom of your tomato. So that's what also bone meal is very good for. Roots and calcium, and it has some nitrogen. Okay, so the alfalfa pellets, they're also very good, as I was saying before, for nitrogen. Then again, they too also are going to take time to break down. They won't necessarily be able to feed your tomato plants right away, maybe towards the mid-season when they're breaking down and then being able to be absorbed by the roots of your plants. It's good to use these pellets for in the fall when you are amending your soil and tidying up your garden to put it to bed. If you put them in the soil, they'll have time to decompose and work in, and will be ready to go in the spring when you plant your plants. So I'll insert a picture here. Okay, that is what the pellets start to look like as they get wet, and they just kind of fall apart, and they'll work themselves into the soil as it rains, and then your plant will be able to take them up. Another great benefit of alfalfa pellets is that it won't burn your plants. It can go directly on a plant. When I plant my lettuce, I sprinkle it all around the lettuce. If it gets on a leaf, I don't have anything to worry about. It kind of crumbles up in the first rain or when I water, and it, you know, filters down into the soil, but it won't burn your plant. So it's a nice, easy, natural fertilizer to use in your garden. So I've given these guys a very, very healthy drink of water. They still are kind of floppy. That's the transplant. I gave a good soaking down at the base of the plant. If you want to think of the soil as kind of a pinball machine, as the droplets of water are going down, they're hitting these little particles, and they're being deflected and moving all the way down. So it does spread out throughout the whole area around your tomato. I like to make sure I have at least a 6-inch radius around each base that I water in very thoroughly. I'm going to give these guys about an hour or two for that water to kind of dissipate within the soil. Give it another healthy dose of water again. So since I planted them so deep, there's some of them are like 12 inches deep. The root ball, none of the roots have formed along the stem yet. So at the root ball, I want it wet. I want the water to go all the way down there. So I'm going to give it a reapplication of a heavy dose of water. And then again, probably this evening, what I'm going to do, since the nitrogen in the alfalfa pellets is not readily available to the plant right away, I'm going to give these guys a drink of fish emulsion, which is a water-based thing. You mix it up in a gallon of water, and it's a little stinky, but at least it's not inside anymore, it's outside. And that should get down to that root ball down there and really give the nitrogen directly to the plant. And I'll probably continue to give it a dose of the fish emulsion about every 2 weeks. I don't know, on into June, almost to July, and then by that time, I think the plant is taking off and has other needs. So that's how I plant my tomatoes. I know many people have already had their tomatoes in the ground for weeks and weeks. But here in my zone, 6A, even with the last frost date at the very beginning of May, I always like to wait till Mother's Day or beyond, but it didn't work out. We had some snow, some very cold temperatures, and I like to plant on a cloudy day. And I got a cloudy day, and there's another one tomorrow with a chance of some rain. So that's always a good thing. So thank you for coming along with me, digging in the dirt with me today. I had such a good time. This is pleasant, pleasant weather. It's in the high 60s, I think, right now, and I enjoyed it. If you enjoyed watching my videos, please subscribe and click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up and like, and share, and pass this along to anybody you may think might like this content. So stay tuned again when I see you on the next video. And so bye-bye from Blue Heron Hill.